I'll tell you the truth.
If someone has to start with, I'm telling the truth. You know.
My daughter is now saying, damn him, damn Trump, and smashing her hand on the table. And I said, wow, honey, what are you thinking? And she said, he made us move in order for our own safety. And it's now he's destroying the country. Listen.
Wow.
And, she has autism.
But she recognizes what's going on.
Yes.
Let's think for ourselves. Enjoy. I have the bad habit of telling the truth, so proceed cautiously. Especially to the delicate and wilted ones. This is a trigger warning. The audio signal is not a design flaw. It's deliberate. This video is not about O'Donnell. The less attention she gets, the better. Is about a pattern. Because I wasn't born yesterday, I could follow a deranged development. I used to feel guilty about thinking like that. Not anymore. There was a time. Yes, it has gotten to this. Reminiscence? When someone had a, let's say, condition? It was considered unfortunate. Logically and realistically. Because it makes life harder. It was sugar-coated later on. You were considered special. Nothing against that, don't you think? Anything to make someone who got a punch in the face from nature to feel better. But then, like everything else, it was not only celebrated, it was something to be proud of and aspire to. Coming back to this one. She is a lesbian, and I'm guessing now, had to have an autistic child. Who she assigned the label non-binary to. Take a second to appreciate that.
Sponsors or big business involved in today's event. Organisers determined to keep this a grassroots-led protest, just like it was in 1972 at the first Pride in London.
It's kind of
Among the banners, chants and calls for change. Time also for some fun and to look fabulous.
Rights are being repealed gradually, so it's important to turn up and be sexy in public.
I've come along to support the trans community because they have, in my view, the toughest gig.
So before I start with another example of this pattern, I like to give you an introduction. I witnessed this development unfolding. It's not personal, as I was just a spectator who tried to support until realizing that you can't help someone who has already decided to be a victim. This one is about a real handicap. Yes, if you lack one of your senses, it limits you. Is it unfair? Yes, but every achievement is also evaluated subjectively. If you have not figured out by this footage which community is discussed, because you were born much later? It's the deaf community, and they have their own community. Inventing communities was not an original idea of the non-binary and non-heterosexuals. Back to my description of the pattern. If you know sign language, you can follow the video as well. And that's my whole point. I saw anger and frustration and I understood. But then they were God sent. Because of the sign language, they started seeing themselves as another culture. They were proud but never stopped playing the victim. They have the choice to learn lip reading and train their voice, but choose sign language because it's easier and they don't want to accommodate people that can hear. This was my experience with them. I tried to learn sign language because I had the time then. No one else did. Can you blame them? Do you know how difficult it is to maintain a language you don't use regularly? I know by now you need a break. Let's just watch William Hurt for a second. For no reason other than that it's pleasant.
The nominees for a performance by an actress in a leading role are...
It's happened again. Another sign language interpreter accused of signing total gibberish. This time it was at the police news conference announcing an arrest in the Tampa serial killings.
We will be charging 4 counts of first-degree murder.
Standing off to the side, apparently translating every word, this woman.
We received over 5,000 tips in this case.
But it turns out much of what she was signing was nonsense. She waved her arms around like she was singing Jingle Bells, says one outraged sign language expert. The woman, identified as Derlin Roberts, has a string of arrests for fraud. So
this is one example, and maybe not everything of the pattern applies to it or other handicaps. But the entitlement combined with victimhood, the stubbornness to adjust and demand that everyone else must adapt, that is common. Refusing a hearing aid. Using a language that, let me tell you, is primitive. Let me explain before you bite my head off. It lacks nuance and limits understanding. And for what? They suffer the consequence of this attitude the most. It makes them dependent, misunderstood, and no one understands them. Literally. This is the Netherlands. If someone blinks, they get a handicap parking place. The majority of the parking places are reserved for handicaps. The rest of us? Pay up or walk for miles till you die. What's new? The strong shoulders have and will carry the weak. Do you really want to attack the ones that carry you? Please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.